Repetition is something we try to find in many facets of our life. Constantly, we get told that to be successful at something, you have to keep doing it over and over and over again. And the same message is prominent in photography. To get really good at shooting a type of subject, you have to shoot it continuously. You have to know the subject inside and out. You have to know the area inside and out. And I don't necessarily disagree with this principle, but sometimes I think we can go too far with repetition, and then it starts to become sameness, and then it starts to become boring. And when it starts to become boring to a creative, it's not even fun anymore. And I was reading the other day about what it takes to be a good photographer, what it takes to make good photos. And I do this often because I constantly think I need to improve. I constantly think there's ways for me to get better. So I want to read up on what other photographers do to make themselves better. And there was a lot of love showed to the people who, repetitively shot the same subject and just continuously shot the same area. But there was also just as much love for the people who went outside the box and shot different areas and were very diverse in their photography and showed how dynamic they could be. And if you're someone that finds it hard to stick to the same thing, for a long period of time, I don't think you need to beat yourself up about that. I think you might be trying to find consistency rather than repetition. And I think there is a distinction. I find consistency to kind of be like the brother or the sister to repetition. It's not as hard, but it kind of plays on the same principles. And you can be a consistent photographer by going out and taking photos every day, but it doesn't have to be of the same exact thing. But because you're being consistent, you're practicing that craft, you are still getting better. One way I've been trying to find consistency with my own photography, considering that we're, all stuck inside right now, is on my Instagram. I've been doing an everyday series where I'm posting pictures that I found just in like a 10-yard radius from my house. And it's really pushed me and made me better. But the good thing is I'm not exactly shooting the same thing. I'm not only taking pictures of flowers. I'm not only taking pictures of, the grass in my yard. I'm also finding compositions with my mailbox, finding compositions on my deck, finding leading lines all over the place. And with this, I'm being consistent in my photography, but I'm not getting bored of it. And I enjoy doing it every day. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll actually post up a few of those pictures I've been showing on my Instagram that I think were really good. And as much as I'm embracing consistency over repetition, don't get me wrong. There are certain areas or certain crafts that require repetition. Shooting a basketball requires you to shoot that basketball thousands, hundreds of thousands of times in order to get to the level of an NBA player. But when you're living a creative life, on the other hand, I think consistency might be the better principle to follow, because you don't get bored as fast. You don't get tired of your craft. You find different ways to flip it and turn it and make it into something interesting every day that will never tire out your creative mind. So I recommend finding consistency with what you do. And if you're one of the people who repetition works for you, it helps you learn, and you really enjoy going deep into a subject and finding the minutia of shooting a type of area or shooting a type of subject, by all means, continue doing that. But if you're someone who's struggling with repetition as a principle, maybe turn and try consistency instead, because I think you'll find yourself a lot more happier and also at the same time getting better in whatever you're trying to do. All right, and that's all for me this time around. This is a pretty short video. I just wanted to kind of throw out a little bit of a principle I kind of thought about a few days ago when I was reading up on photography. If you want me to go more into this, or maybe into principles and ideas that are kind of in the same vein, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to make that video. Make sure, if you haven't done already, to give this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm making a lot of videos nowadays, which is pretty fun. And thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. And here are those pictures I promised.